Hey guys, it's ViewMasters Reactions, and we're back with Season 6, Episode 31 of Adventure Time. Last we saw, we got Diary, and Jake goes around with one of his kids on this fictional reimagining of someone else's life. Who is that life? It is Nurse Betsy Poundcake. It ends up being Betsy Poundcake, who's a nurse. We went to her cabin or whatever that was, and there was all sorts of anatomy things, skeletons. She was learning how to be a nurse, so it wasn't as creepy as it appeared. We don't know who Justin was, but Justin was apparently the love of Betsy Poundcake's life, and she wrote this entire diary, threw it in the river. I mean, the whole thing was just bizarre. I could easily see it having been a way for just Jake and his kid to bond. Like maybe Jake and his kid needed a way to bond, so they bond over this diary. They come up with some elaborate crap. Like they're talking about having crab arms, and then they're even acknowledging later on, like towards the end, before they found out it was Betsy Poundcake, she, through the voice of one of them, was even saying, yeah, I learned how to deal with my crab arm and everything. They wrote some crazy, bizarre fictional life and then just kept building on it and actually accepting it for what it was. Totally insane, but on par with Adventure Time. I appreciate it. I want it to mean more. I feel like the Justin kid, or the Justin guy or old man at this point, I feel like they're going to have something to do with it. I don't know if there's an age put on candy people. Like, Betsy Poundcake looks old, but what's old for candy? Is it like 1,000 years old? I know it's probably way longer than humans, because the way I'm looking at it is sugar lasts forever. Like they're saying, like sugar, you could eat sugar almost like decades later, stuff like that. So maybe if you're a sugar person, you live way longer because you're like preserved. You can live hundreds of years. I don't know. I don't know if that's important, but I constantly think about how do candy people age? Because my idea of young could be really old or vice versa or something. I don't know. Maybe they live less. Maybe candy people only live like 20 years and then they die and they melt away and the sugar just goes bad. I don't know. I'm jumping in. I want to see when we're going to start getting more with Finn's dad. What the heck was up with Susan Strong in the other episode? Somebody in the comments said I thought you would have been more surprised when Susan's hat came off. The only reason I wasn't was because I imagined that's what she'd look like with her hat off. I knew she didn't have gills or anything like that. I almost feel like, didn't we see her before with her hat off? If we didn't, it wasn't a big shock to me, I guess. I don't know. I just assumed that's what she'd look like, and I feel like I'd seen her hat off before. But regardless, we're jumping in. You want to be way ahead, full unedited reactions to this and other shows I do, Patreon link at the end. If you're seeing it on YouTube, we're probably done in full with the entire series or close to it. Distant Lands, dozens of other exclusive seasons ahead on other shows you do see on YouTube. Patreon link, check the end. If not, jumping in. Season 6, Episode 31. Adventure Time. Walnuts and rain. It looked like ants. Tut tut. Looks like ants.
Yeah. I can't wait to get back home, though.
Yeah, me too.
I'm
gonna play some Battle Wars with Nepter on BMO and catch up on my correspondence with my pen pal Danny Gladiolus from over in Maryville.
Finn?
What the frig was that? Fell down a goddamn hole, and he's gonna fall down a different hole.
What the?
Are they ants? What is going on? They're watermelon bodies with what looks like steak
where's this supposed to be?
heads. And they're feeding him.
Excuse me? Where am I anyway?
Why, this is the famed kingdom of Huge. You fell through that crack in my ceiling.
Well, my friend up top is prob's pretty worried about me, so I best get going.
Don't be silly, child. You should wait for him here, or you could miss each other. Besides, you're just in time to witness the chiming. It's set to do its chiming in merely an hour's time.
In toll, we crimber?
We will await the clock's chiming in style. Just wait till you see my clock.
Why do I feel like...
Oh, good, you're awake. Good.
Oh my god, I thought he was actually talking to us. Is that one of the teddies that was partying?
You mean we're falling right now? Thanks for your help, buddy, but I gotta go. Oh, hold up. My friend's still up top. He could be in trouble, and every second I'm down here, I'm falling further away.
You were unconscious while you were falling, remember? So you might have been falling for weeks. This is a very deep hole. If you try to climb out, I feel like you should probably not starve to death.
Finn is a pretty heroic kid, I gotta admit.
Yeah, but what do you
Probably
do?
here and half a gift.
Here, have a walnut.
I'm Jake, by the way.
Hi, Jake. I'm 7718. See, I carved it in the floor when I first got down here so I wouldn't forget.
Bill.
But you can call me 7 for short.
I'm like, what is 7718? It's gotta mean something.
That was actually pretty cool, but I should probably get going.
The clock is set to chime again in merely an hour's time.
Sorry, man. I got my mind
Why do
made
they
up.
look like they have
for
raw
the food, though.
steak
Food
heads?
boys! Yes, tie him up with normal spaghetti.
I think he's trying to fatten Finn up so much that he fills out the chair.
Making my way to the Candy Kingdom like I'd done 200 times before. We went off-road and I got thrown back into my wagon. Only to find I was wedged deep in a hole and sinking fast. And I've been falling ever since. Walnuts would fall into the hole and sometimes rain.
So how did you pass the time?
Free cell and things got a lot better. It's like solitaire, but there's a very few unsolvable shuffles. I can play free cell alongside.
I hope he's
him.
not like a
Yeah, man.
crazy and he's gonna
You know,
try to like
also,
eat him or
I know some
something.
other card games we could play.
I forgot there were games like that.
How long
There was
has this
another
guy been
time.
floating
This was
around here?
several- Finn!
Huh?
Are you listening?
Food boy in the clock.
Huh. Yes. One of the food boys had gotten himself wedged in the clock.
All right, buddy. When the clock strikes 12, I beckon kindly to yonder food boys. Immediately make me their leader and undo my spaghetti. With a perfectly timed serving tray, the arrow will gain heft via the chandelier bat's filched asparagus. The serving tray from before is sending canned mangosteen careening into the clean silverware. The asparagus arrow has caused the domino thing of food to happen.
To catapult
It's
Finn.
not a perfect plan.
I want it to work. Do it.
You guys like clean jokes?
So far, so good.
Seize the child. You know you'll never escape.
I'm gonna murder your stupid clock, you psycho!
Shit. These dudes. He's already winded because he's never gotten up. Look at Finn. Oh, man. Through the wall. To the pot. All the hot water. Oh. And all the water put out the heat.
Big interest to the hothouse. Socks are off.
Why, you?
What are you gonna kidnap you?
Jake using those powers. Is Bill gonna know his name?
I want a giant flippin' hot dog.
Don't you know those things are made out of, like, the...
Man, I don't give a toot.
Great episode to begin with, but I feel like I know Bill. I know we met the bears that were partying in the mouth of the giant thing, whatever it was. I know it's not connected to that, or is it? Because I know that his name is Bill 7718. I'm guessing he's just a new character, but I just want to make sure I'm not supposed to know him. Maybe he's just another bear that looks like someone else. I feel bad. Why don't they tell? Jake had to have known his name is Bill. Maybe he felt bad. Maybe he felt he didn't have the heart to tell this guy, dude, you didn't look at it the right way. You've been down here how long? And you think your name is 7718? Your name is Bill, dude. But they just called him Seven. Finn at the end there was nicknaming him Seven. And the whole wanting a hot dog thing, I feel like that was referencing something. And maybe I'm just thinking of another show because I watch so many shows. I could be thinking of something totally unrelated, but I'm just trying to get that out there in case I'm missing something or I'm forgetting something. I feel like hot dogs was a thing in this show with somebody. I could be totally wrong. Maybe it's totally just random and I'm thinking so much into it and trying to make connections that it's not even making sense anymore. But I'm under the impression that by Finn using the water to put out the fire, that Jake and Bill would have possibly landed into one of those steaming, boiling pots, possibly gotten hurt. I don't know if they would have died, and they could have probably avoided it or jumped away or something, or Jake could have used his abilities like he did. I mean, Jake, I've said this forever, that Jake, he could basically use his abilities to get out of anything, and he does. He punches this giant fat guy that's being fed by these creatures that look like they have raw steaks as heads and bodies of watermelons. There was also a body of like an eggplant or a radish or something like that. I don't know what that was all about. I don't know if that is relevant at all, but that was just weird. And there was this giant fat dude that was just getting fed by them around the clock to the point where he could barely get out of his chair. He got winded taking 3 steps. he has an underground like house or world, or I don't know what you'd even call that. He just lives underground and has these creatures feed him. The whole thing is bizarre. And he's still down there, I guess, because they just escaped. They didn't really like do anything beyond that. And the creatures were willing to die for him. They were fighting Finn, and Finn had to like battle them. So, I mean, if anything, they should have helped Finn because Finn was trying to release them of their slavery, but I don't know what that was. And then at the end, we ride off. Jake punches him in the face with a giant arm, and we ride off with Bill, and Bill just wants a hot dog. That's all he wants. He was in a hole for God knows how long and almost died and starving, and they're doing this weird card dance. The card dance was interesting. I got to go back and I got to hear the card dance thing. Bill got weird at the end, and it felt like they didn't know what else to say, and they just started talking about socks or something. I'm jumping into another one. You guys want to be way ahead, full on edited reactions of this and other shows I do. If you're seeing it on YouTube, seasons ahead, possibly done with the whole thing in full. Check the link for Patreon. Seasons ahead on other shows and dozens of exclusives you might never see on YouTube. If not, comments down below, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.